Good afternoon, everybody. First of all, very happy to be finally introduced to all of our panelists. I think it's almost like an AI-generated, we individuals we are. We just got popped because somehow we haven't managed to speak to each other before this, right? So, but anyway, we'll make the most of it, right? Inspired by AI's ability to generate spontaneous conversation. So, the point that I wanted to make was what we may do is in this session, and I've been looking at the sessions that have been coming here, one of the things we'll try to do is we'll try to make our intervention short and crisp, and we're going to have a slightly longer audience engagement so that we get to hear everybody's refined, unrefined opinions on AI. That's one thing, and to start with, maybe what I will do is I'll start with myself, and I'll ask each of you to lay a little bit of background on how you view AI, given where you're coming from, and then we'll take it forward from there as I tie in the threads together. So, I mean, immediately from my perspective, apart from my research, I am having a very raw connection with AI these days because we have a wonderful MA in creative writing program, and while I have been handling the assignments of my wonderful students, I've been having this conversation why some of them are blurring the line between, say, wanting to improving the grammar and structure of the sentences to altogether sometimes writing AI-generated material, right? And I don't want to say that they're doing that with some very crude, malafide intention. They are so much natives to this AI world that they don't know any better, right? So we talk of digital natives, people who were born after Facebook. So I think we should have another concept called AI natives. And I think they are pretty much belonging to that generation where they are struggling to understand what counts as plagiarism, what not. And while I was having that conversation, my essential advice to them was, the reason I'm asking you to structure your sentences and have a direct relationship with every word that you write, not mediated by the machine, is because one day when you take the help of the machine, you will know what the machine suggests you, right? And you will be in a position to use the machine in a better, to your advantage in a better way. So that is my tiny keyhole into the world of AI as I've been experiencing it in all its immediacy for this moment. And maybe we can start from Ninad and Sunil. And
very comfortable with it, and it's very easy for me to pick up new things, except when AI came around and it really freaked me out because suddenly the little things that we could do with technologies now are the whole world's open. You can make anything that you want, just enter a few words, and it can essentially take over your job and la 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 la. But again, me being I was hey, maybe there's good to this and everything. I just went down the rabbit hole of exploring AI, and now I'm at a stage where it gets me really excited about the things that I'm doing and the things that are yet to come. But it also fills me with a lot of anxiety about our present and the future. And I feel I'm just trying to navigate the little space in between these two things where I can still ask questions which there are no answers to currently, and I will keep doing this till invokes my curiosity. And yeah, I have a lot of questions that you have as well about just the blurring of these things. I also think about how if as you were saying that they don't intend to do that, AI is very first to them. I think about how technology will change the way that we look at the world and not the other way around. So when you say that, you have to understand the concepts that it gives you, I think of will these concepts change according to the technology that we're using and not the other way around? So yeah, this is just what keeps me up at night, I guess. Yeah.
Good afternoon, all. I'm Sunil. I am working in Mathrubhumi itself as a consultant. My main role is in Mathrubhumi is bridging technology and content. Actually, I am working as a trainer, and not only for Mathrubhumi, but a lot of organizations outside Mathrubhumi. And while speaking about the AI and creativity, first we need to define the creativity. What is the definition of creativity actually? Is there any clear definition for the word creativity? The Oxford is actually giving a definition, that is using imaginations or original ideas to create something as a creativity. Even the AI now, especially the generative AI, is now capable of creating a lot of things, creating text. It can generate text, it can generate images, it can generate videos, it can generate sound. So it is actually is a result of training a model with a lot of data. Can you say that the creativity is an ability that we will acquire by learning some data? How a child is actually learning to draw a cat? Seeing and experiencing the animal and its poses, a lot of things, and how this child learns to do this thing. Just like this, the AI model, but actually the difference between human and AI model is that the AI can learn it fast than humans. Okay. But actually, human is actually born with some imprinted knowledge in his brain, and he is utilizing and experiencing the world to create new things. It is actually created from the randomness. I believe that the computer is not able to create things with some randomness. Actually, it is learning the structure or learning various patterns. Even when you train a model with the patterns, normally it learns patterns from that images, lot of images. That means you can train a model with a lot of text. For example, in GPT, then you can give a prompt to write a poem on something, rain or love. It can generate a poem in a fraction of a second. At the same time, the model, you can also ask the model to write in the style of William Wordsworth. It's possible, it can write because it is trained with the complete works of Wordsworth. So it can imitate things without any feeling. It can imitate. It is actually predicting the next word in the sentence. Similarly, it can generate images. I think the technology like GAN, generative adversarial network, is used to create images. Lot of text to image models are there. People are generating it and even selling it. In 2018, I remember a Paris art house. They actually created, it's called Oblivious, I remember that name. They created a portrait called Edmund D. Bellamy. Actually, an auction house, Christie, auctioned it for, and somebody bought it for around $430,000 US. So for an AI created image. So the people started experiencing, people started enjoying the work by the AI. So this situation is there, and the companies, even like Siemens, even Nutella, actually they can use AI to create the designs for jars. And a lot of companies are now using for the product design. So it is actually raising a threat for the productive minds or artists or designers. But at the same time, it lacks actually the original creativity, because if you define the creativity as the ability that we are getting from the data, that's true. But the humans are actually, it is not fully experiencing with the data. It is creating some randomness. Humans are capable of imitating some randomness. But at the same time, the artists or designers can use it in a responsible way, where they can generate a lot of ideas, and they can, because the AI don't know, they are actually AI fails, how these humans are enjoying the artwork. They don't have any feeling how the people, how people, humans are enjoying the AI created thing or AI created poem. But it can actually, mimic the original work of AI, and can actually fool humans by creating a painting just like an artist. But it's not, it is incapable of identifying the feeling. So how can you say that then our AI artwork is beautiful? So what is about the beautiful? What is the definition of beautiful? It is a subjective thing which is varies, even human to human it varies. The ability to enjoy something is varies. So here the interesting thing is that AI fails to in certain extent, but AI can augment artists to boost their creativity, to enhance their creativity by giving some ideas. For example, a photographer can just ask the language model to get some ideas about taking a good creative photograph of the Onam celebrations or whatever Christmas celebrations. So getting these ideas, he can humanly modify this thing to a new creative things. He can add his own part. But it will normally enhance the capability of the, I feel like that. Okay, thank you. I can pass to Unni on this, his comments.
Yeah. Good afternoon all, and thanks to my co-speakers for a wonderful context setting to this discussion. I would like to present two, I would say, contrasting kind of points here. So one is about AI being a transformative technology, which means that it fundamentally changes the way we work, the way we live, the way we commute, the way we entertain ourselves, and so on. So it is that kind of a technology which can be compared only to, say, electricity or a computer and so on. So there is a world before electricity and there was a world after electricity. There was a world before computers and after. Like that, it is like that also. So which means that it touches every sphere of human activity, including our creative pursuit. So that's the fundamental thing or premise that on one side we see. But on the other side, if you look at art and creativity and track the evolution of that, right from those days when a Neanderthal probably drew a cave art, right, with a sharp stone. I think that sharp stone was a tool that they used. So right from those days, there has always been a symbiotic relationship between art as we see it, or creativity on one side, and technology and the tools on the other side. And you can see that in every civilization that we know. They used tools and technologies to express themselves. If you look at any civilization, they have their own ways to express themselves, and using the sophisticated tools in all these civilizations. And all these civilizations take pride in the use of those tools, and some of them has withstood the test of time only because of technology, right? So if a tomb in Qutb Minar is standing tall, it's not only because of the art, but also the technology that was used at that time. If the Renaissance art of Europe is withstanding the test of time, it was also because, among other things, the dyes or the paints they used, the brush strokes, and many other tools that they used, and the sophistication of those tools, right? So, like that, it always technology is there to assist you to make your art or your creativity better, and there is no, in that aspect, there is no difference with AI. AI is also going to help us create more art and in a better way, and I would say, in more avenues. It will also create more avenues to have art. Like, for example, if you again take the evolution of art, it has always found new ways of new mediums, which were also provided by technology. Before the invention of the cinematography or the photography or videography, you didn't have a movie or as an art form, right? So that was a new medium that the technology has provided. Similarly, with the internet and the social media, there is a new medium that art has provided. And in the same vein, we will see more and more demand for art, because there will be more and more avenues to express ourselves. So that is also something that we will see and we are seeing. So I think to summarize, there will be more avenues for creativity because of AI, and again, AI can be used to become better artists and more superpower artist. But at the end of the day, it is a human being and his ingenuity or her ingenuity that will shine through.
Yeah, very quickly. I mean, one of the things that AI is very bad at as of now, and which I think is a very essential component of creativity, is AI is very bad at critiquing itself and trying to improve itself. And I think that's one of the things that, if you take this very conversation, for example, lots of creative works of art like theater or maybe works in literature are essentially great conversations and dialogues. And how to make a conversation great is actually something that I don't think AI has still discovered really well, right? In real time. AI can, of course, like all of us are giving perspectives, AI can give individual self-absorbed perspectives, but AI is still very bad at that kind of a dynamic conversation. And I think that is one thing that we should all aspire towards. But very quickly, trying all the threads. First of all, Ninad, I think the point that you made that initially technology was a genuine prosthetic for you. It helped you. But then you are sort of confronting this new explosion. And I just want to point this finger that for all of us, for the audience, that what makes this, why are we again talking about AI now? So, especially after ChatGPT. So basically for all of us, this is a new paradigm in AI called generativity. So the earlier paradigm in AI was all about prediction, but now AI, without getting into very technical details, can actually generate new structures, new forms, right? So that paradigm of generativity, as it manifests in things like ChatGPT or DALI or whatever, is what I think you're talking about. And as Sunil sir mentioned, that we have to definitely get into the question of how to define creativity in the first place, right? And I want to deliberately do something here. I want to dissect. I think what you were trying to say is that computers at the end of the day are looking for patterns and in that sense are not genuinely creative. And to make this conversation exciting, I disagree with you. I think creativity is largely about looking for patterns and trying to see if you can throw up new patterns. So I think that exactly is the nature of the debate, right? Here. And thanks to Unni that we already have a historical perspective on this, in the sense that we are very sure that technology has always affected us, not just now. Technology from the very beginning, right, as you say, from the way in which we discovered tools to etch in the cave paintings, right up to how we discovered the art of perspective in Renaissance paintings. Science and technology was always woven into the question of how art is produced. It's just that now it is more clear, given that machines directly can claim to have produced art. And I think I would like to know more from all of you. For example, because you work in digital marketing, and how have you seen, like for example, how have you seen your own field changing in front of you? Like as youngsters are adopting this in your offices, etc. How is that working out? Ninad, maybe you can tell us about the design perspective, and Unni, you can tell us more about how it is being adopted in engineering, because from what we understand, AI was already very much a part of the engineering fields at the back end for a long time. It is now suddenly come into the popular attention. So if you could just touch upon that, and then we'll see how we can tie those threads together.
So for me personally, it's been like, as I said, like it's been a roller coaster of an experience. While the AI cannot do what I was doing before, right? Like, which is design. I mostly do graphic design, and it's still not very good at doing most things that I do. It can create a lot of bad graphic design, which is how like ChatGPT also used to be. It's that you can get a lot of bad, mediocre writing. But as I said, like it's just a matter of time till it kind of gets better, till it evolves, till more data is fed into it. And I mean, essentially that's why it's scary, right? That we cannot anticipate the pace at which it will get better or if it even will. Like the early drafts of like generative AI or even like just chat bots that we had seen, the ability for them to become racist or bigoted like lied entirely on like the public, and it happened like in a blink of a second, because sometimes people are horrible, and you know, especially because all of the AI that we have now, generative AI, is trained on data that is available to it. It does have like a lot of biases, it does have a lot of issues. And if you work in a country like India, then, and all the technology like the ones that you mentioned, it's all like built in the West, at least as of now, the ones that I have accessed at least. And it has like a lot of flaws, the way that it looks at us, unless you take like proactive effort and kind of try to alter that. Every time that you try to generate a certain successful person or whatever, it used to give us a white man in a suit, right? And then they had to make changes on their end so that it could diversify. And this is obviously a very like direct, shallow example, but it kind of seeps into everything else. And the problem here is that it did not have the data, is because we haven't documented it on the internet as well. And of course, it's a problem. Like you were saying, right? Like why has certain like art things or sculptures from Europe kind of sustained till now? Yes, it is technology, but also because they didn't face as much conflict as we did. And the culture of preserving art and valuing it has been present in Europe since like a while. And we just kind of, you know, it's gone in and come out. And colonization had like a huge effect on it, where we devalued a lot of art that was there before that. And I feel like it is that, like, even with AI, what we make, the value of art that it comes down to, which is what is interesting to me, that how do you define that value? Because if everybody is making art, I don't think it's, at the end of the day, it won't be as interesting. It won't be as valuable, because if I can make a beautiful picture, and if you can make a beautiful picture, the beautiful picture really doesn't have that much value. It's about what I can put into it. It's about the unique perspectives that we can get. And speaking on a larger scale, I think that's what we will move towards. AI is scary because it redefines all these ideas. It kind of like alters our brain chemistry in that way, the same way that the internet did, where like suddenly we had access to the whole world, to everybody's lives with social media. We can see what a person on the other side of the world is doing. The same way I think AI will alter that chemistry in which we perceive art, consume it, and create it as well, where, you know, it will evolve. It will evolve the way that I think what makes it interesting, what makes it valuable, what do we get from it, apart from the intent that we created from and the execution of it. And I think I have no answers to any of these things, and I have more questions every day, but I do know, like, you know, you can feel it changing around you, and I'm like cautiously optimistic about it, but again, like, it scares the shit out of me.
Okay. Actually, as David told, the AI is in the childless stage now, because generally we call it as ANI, artificial narrow intelligence. And the technology people, the scientists, expect that it will come to a stage where AGI is possible, artificial general intelligence, just like the human intelligence is possible. Sometime it may be possible, but now it is not available. That kind of AGI is not available, but people started moving or developing new things, especially we are actually familiar with LLMs, large language model. A lot of people are using ChatGPT. It's the most popular tool, and they got, I think, 200 million subscriptions in just 2 years after releasing it in the November 2022. That much popular thing. And now we are living in an age of LAM, a large action model, where the ChatGPT can generate only the text, or it can generate something, what you call for example, the ChatGPT 4 version is a multimodal, which can accept data as text as well as image, or what you call Excel sheet, data sheet. And multimodal models are available. Now, recently, 2 days ago, the Google released Gemini, which can identify, actually, even learn from even videos. Can identify videos, learn from data, learn from videos. Lot of things are possible. But people need not to run away from the technology. But people can use this technology to enhance their capability. I am actually engaged in training people to do that. I am actually, last time, Last month, I done a workshop for the veterinary doctors all over India in using the AI besides this traditional practice. You know that AI can be utilized to get differential diagnosis in veterinary science, even in human health. For differential diagnosis without lab data, with X-rays, radiographs, everything, you can upload all these things and get a differential diagnosis from the model. But at the same time, it lacks the sensitivity, because as a doctor, as a veterinary surgeon, or as a human doctor, this clinical experience is also important. So the humanly touch is important, where a doctor need to examine the patient with his own hands. He's getting some idea. And this idea blended with this help of this, what you call this AI, can show you miracles, because it will support the doctor to do something in the right way, or the avoid wrong things. Similarly, artist can do same thing. He can generate designs based on their requirement. Even Coca-Cola recently made a advertisement, video advertisement using AI. Coca-Cola AI, and it is available in the YouTube, where they used a lot of pictures, paintings, even the paintings of Van Gogh. They made a beautiful advertisement video with the support from AI. They used a tool called the Runway ML, I think. Generated video from text and images. But that is humanly not possible. So it opens a way to enhance the creative minds of people, where people can invest his mind on this technology and can create normally or hitherto unimaginable things, results. That's possible. Even people are using it. I think there is I remember this Hatsune Mickey. I remember the Japanese name. It is available as a channel in YouTube. AI created idol and AI created songs, and they have 200 million views in YouTube. 200 million views, just created using AI. You can visit that YouTube channel. So these kind of things are happening. So where you can enhance your capability, you need not to depend on what you call this, the technology to create or 100% create new things. But with the help of the technology, you can get ideas, you can gather ideas, you can invest your own mind, your own creativity, and blending this HI and AI can do miracles, I think. That is possible now. Okay.
I think to answer Ravi's question of how AI is impacting the what we do in engineering space, right? For us in engineering, creativity means designing products that are better, more efficient, more user-friendly, and which the customers would love, and so on, right? So at Quest Global, for example, we are an pure-play engineering services company serving verticals in automotive, medical, energy, aerospace, and defense, and so on, where creativity for us and AI, its use, is primarily about making these products better. For example, Sunil touched upon how doctors are benefiting from AI. We are enabling that in the products that we develop or for our customers in the medical devices. So how do we diagnose cancer even before the radiologists can do that from millions of past data and things like that. So those are the kind of work that we do to basically use AI in creative work. Another dimension of it is basically about how can we use that to make our own job of programming and developing things and designing things. Can we make that faster or more productive? We are also exploring that as well. So I think that it works both ways. The first point of new features that are enabled only because of AI, new products that come up only because of AI, and that is the creativity which actually generates demand for more and more products, for more and more of these features, and so on. Whereas on the other side, we are trying to use AI to augment our engineering force or our human skills to produce more, right? So So on both sides, we are using AI. Is my
I thought this will be a good time because as we promised that we'll have many more questions in this session as opposed to the earlier ones. So the floor is open for questions.
Can I also just add, like, before we take a question, like the YouTube channel that you mentioned with 200 million views, it's the Hatsune Miku thing, and it has that many subscribers, and like it's that popular because it became a meme all over the world, and which is funny to me because if there are 200 like AI channels making music, I don't think it would be a thing. Why this one's popular is because it's very interesting to me that it's actually a take on Japanese culture in the way that these models are virtual and they became so popular, and you kind of look at it in a way where, yes, Japanese people are that lonely that they're getting attached to these models and will listen to like a computer instead of like actually going out and talking to people. And so it kind of spread all over the world, and there's even a man that got married to Hatsune Miku and then eventually had to break up because the company that used to run that pulled out.
Hi, my name is Dev. I'm an interaction designer living in Germany. And my question is, you talked about original creativity. So what is original creativity? Like, even as humans, what we do is, everything is a remix. Even the talks we have right now, it's the accumulation of all the information you gather from YouTube or other resources. So is there anything as original as humans can have? And you say AI can do the similar thing. They can accumulate data and they can interpret it in a good way. So we also have heard of like sentient AIs. So it's not a like long time that it comes here. And why do you still insist that we humans need to be there?
Can you repeat the last part?
I mean, why do you insist that we humans still need to be there to be creative? Why can't we leave it to the AI as is?
No, I mean, I think I share the skepticism that nothing is truly original. In fact, there is a saying called "nothing comes from nothing." So it's not like original works come from nothing. So that I agree. I think one of the things that happens with creativity is that we have to distinguish between originality and authenticity, right? You can be authentic, you can be creative, but the judgment is still out there whether you are original or not. That takes more time to be judged, right, or verified. And the question that I think the other question that you had is, why do we need humans at all? I would answer it in two ways. One is that nowadays, and as I was speaking to Unni just before the session, with the same AI tools at your disposal, different humans use that AI tools in a better or worse way, right? So there are competitions now where you can use either of these image generation or text generation softwares, and in a group of 100, there'll be somebody given certain constraints and prompts, somebody who will do it much better. Right, so there is a way in which some humans can even use AI better, clearly. And the other thing that you said, I don't know, I think the other point that you made about whether we should give up creativity altogether to machines or not, I think that's a deeper question about what it even means to be human. The problem is humans were supposed to be defined as the creative species. Like, of course, there are here and there some, you see creativity in some non-human species also. So that was supposed to be something uniquely human. So insofar as that, I think humans should always strive to keep that domain for themselves as much as they can. So that's my, yeah.
I would say it's a good provoking question in the sense that do we need to abandon creativity altogether as human beings, right? So I think I think, and in a lighter vein, you talked about coming to this from YouTube videos and all, but I think in a lighter vein, of course, apart from some chit chats between me and Ravi, the four of us didn't even meet before this to keep this spontaneous and original. So in that sense, I think that spontaneity, that originality, and that authenticity is what defines human beings, and it will continue to be so. I think AI might make our jobs easier, what our current jobs easier. It will actually, in my view, AI is only going to make our jobs even more creative than it is today. So it will probably eliminate all the routine things that you do, the chores that we actually don't want to do, but our jobs demand those chores to be done, right? So it will eliminate those things and make you super creative in your jobs. And even the new jobs that are going to be created because of AI are going to be extremely creative. So I think there is no end to human ingenuity and creativity. And in my view, AI is only going to make that super clear in the days to come.
AI need to be used in the responsive way. That is the thing. There are methods for responsive and responsible and irresponsible use of AI. So I can give you an example. There are platforms which are capable of creating PowerPoint presentations for you. A lot of platforms are available, lot services are available, where you can create PowerPoint presentations for you. Last month I was actually engaged in training a group of people in the state secretariat. They are using this tool to create something. There are responsible and irresponsible ways of creating this. You can create a PowerPoint presentation by just giving a prompt, a single line prompt, the short sentences. Can you create 10 slides on the use of AI in governance? Quickly, it can give you an outline of the subject. It can create the entire content, make slides, and you can download it as a PowerPoint presentation, either as a PDF file or a PowerPoint presentation. At the same time, the tool offers another opportunity to add your own thoughts. You can add your own text or your own paper. Suppose a academician want to have a presentation on his research paper, he can use his own research paper to generate a presentation. This is a kind of responsible use of augmenting, because he will take a lot of, he knows the paper. The content of the paper is owned by him. It's his creativity. At the same time, he can augment or he can save time in generating a PowerPoint presentation based on his own document. That's a responsible way. The other one is irresponsible way. Without knowing anything about the governance, AI in governance, you can generate one with a prompt. So, what makes you creative? That's the issue. If you use it in a responsible way, as Unni said, you will become more creative or super creative. You can enhance your own creativity. But if you use it in an irresponsible way, this is not going anything good for you. I think that is my thinking on this. Thank you.
Hi, I am Yasin, and I have a question for you. When we talk about creativity and artificial intelligence, it's basically a merger of interdisciplinarity. What we see in the current scenario, all the traditional jobs are dying, and there are new age creative careers coming, what we call as liberal education. So what is the future of liberal education in India?
So AI actually in education is going to do something. Actually this time the budget is allocating something for education, AI education in the state itself. AI can do miracles in education. Actually the people started using it. There's a consortium called the Teach AI. The globally companies and academicians are joining hands to have this. The Teach AI, even the Khan Academy is, I understand that Khan Academy is a member of the Teach AI consortium. They started using it, where it can meet the cognitive ability of students, especially. It is not actually teaching about some AI or teaching a tool that student can use in their learning. That's not the thing. Where AI can actually contribute to meet the cognitive ability of students. For example, in a school class, 40 students, a teacher is coming for a period of 40 minutes, I think, teaching something for 40 minutes or delivering something in the 40 minutes. You know that 1/4 of the students will normally, they will understand it easily, and depending upon their cognitive ability. And the second part, another 10 will learn after reaching home or by doing some exercise or with the help of a teacher or a tuition teacher or with the help of parents. And the third set of students, they will learn something when the examination comes by heart and will win the exam. And the case of the fourth set of students, it will not do anything for, benefit anything for them. But here, AI, all these people, all these students are equally intelligent, but they have multiple intelligence, but not in the same way, but in a different way. So the AI can understand this cognitive ability and can customize the content for the student. And the government of India, the Ministry of Education, the 2 weeks ago, they tweeted about the, the mandatory thing that all educational institutions under UGC, IICTE, and even the school boards, everybody, they are directed to create digital content, educational content, or convert their entire curriculum to digital format in the coming 3 years. It's a direction. Government is pumping money, but you need to use in the right way. Actually, teaching something, some tools or some technology to students is not the way. But utilizing the technology, I think the Google actually, years ago, they put forward a tool called Google Bolo, which helps the student to read Hindi well, to learn reading Hindi or speaking Hindi. It is actually using AI behind it. So using AI technology, it can enhance education to a greater extent because it can meet the cognitive ability of students. It can customize or personalize educational content curriculum for the students. So a student now started, actually, they learned the skill to learn from videos, after the post-COVID, after the COVID. They are actually depending on YouTube. Just after the class, before the COVID, the pre-COVID period, students actually will ask the parents or a tuition teacher or some friends or something. But nowadays, they are directly going to the YouTube and watching a video on a particular subject and learn from it. So the COVID forced them to practice that way, gain that skill. So this is actually, I think the UN people also saying this is beneficial and they are actually working on this. Even the UNESCO published 2 guides on use of AI in education. It is available for free. And they recently published another guide, a 16-page guide on the use of ChatGPT in academic research, which is available for free. You can search on Google to get download this thing. So that's why the people are thinking about using AI in education.
Can I just to add on to that on a broader level, like not so specific, the idea, I feel like AI and just education or just like gaining perspectives in general, like the way that I like to think about the ideal would be to have this like unbiased digital consciousness that can kind of guide us and help us through like, thinking about the world. But to be fair, like it's extremely difficult to like go down that path and kind of attain that because of how AIs work and the way that like the models are trained and the way that information, what I was saying earlier, right? Like it's still in our hands to kind of guide the ethics of these things. Otherwise, it's just like if somebody gets mad and like goes and like looks up something on AI, it's going to affirm whatever bad thoughts that that person is having. And I feel like it's the same with education, that you can use it in like the most conservative manner, you can use it in the most liberal manner. It still is, at least, till it cannot think for itself and it starts thinking of the world, it still is a tool that we're using. The scary thing is that like it amplifies a lot of these things, right? So it can amplify whatever thoughts I'm having. It doesn't question, as he was saying. It doesn't question, it doesn't have the ability to be self-critical. And I feel that's where humans actually come in. We are extremely self-critical people, at least creative people when we say that. We hate everything that we make until we don't. And I feel like that is something that the AI cannot do. And it will just reaffirm everything that we're already doing. And I don't think that's a very productive way of improving the world. That's not a very productive way of like looking at the world as well. Because if we kept doing what we were doing 200 years back and just like doubling down on everything, we'd probably be like, nothing would get better. Violence would be a solution to everything. So I feel like, we need to be very mindful and move towards this.
Thanks, Ninad. Because I come from Alliance University, which is in Bangalore, I'm going to use the jargon that I'm going to double click on this point about self-criticality, because I think that takes us back to the question that was asked about the role, the future of the role that liberal education has or interdisciplinarity has in our times. Because I think what you rightly said is that with the rise of these new gadgets and new technologies and their rapid adoption, the deeper questions about what their ethical consequences are, how society really reacts to them, how it is changing our fundamental perception of art, morality, culture in every way. It actually is an occasion to bring back the humanities, the study of the arts, literature, philosophy, more than less, right? One would imagine, these days if you go, near my university, we have another university, and I won't take its name. They offer a bachelor's in AI. They don't offer a bachelor's in computer science. They offer a bachelor's in AI. The universities are so crazy to dismantle and narrow education to this false over-specialization that they have the gall to pronounce a bachelor's in AI, which as a person who teaches computer science students is meaningless, because you cannot have an undergraduate specialization in AI. So the first thing is like a return to the humanities. For example, you're in design. One of the things that I've noticed is that absolutely earlier, maybe in design, there was a sense in which knowing design softwares was a thing, was very important. But now let's say that task is outsourced to the AI. The AI is creating its own art. More the reason for us to know stuff like the history of art or the history of literature or the history of design, so that we are then in a position to take and choose the best that the machine gives us, right? So actually, number one, in the sense of liberal education, a return to the humanities. Number two, to think about the relationship between AI and society. So, we as a liberal arts school are trying to do that in a big way. And thirdly, like a slightly more subtle point which I wanted to make is AI has busted the myth of over-specialization, because there was a time somewhere in the last 90s and 2000s where over-specialization was a thing, right? But now AI is actually good at over-specialization. If you give it a specific training data set to train upon, it can over-specialize itself and give you answers in that narrow domain. So while AI takes up the burden of over-specialization, it is for us to be broader in our knowledge. Human beings should be the ones who combine disciplines, see the bigger picture. And that is also something which liberal education, in the sense that it gives you the freedom to move between disciplines. You have to shift between art and science, and then science to art continuously. So that is the kind of, in a strange way, and we had this conversation even on the other panel which I was there, which was on technology and global education. In many schools in India, in government schools, they believe that if you don't have good teachers, they're going to the other extreme and not spending on human capital and replacing the teachers by some teaching app. Rather, because you're using AI-based teaching apps, all the more reason to have even better teachers who will be able to supervise the adoption of those apps, understand how the apps can be misused. So actually you need better teachers, not lesser. So that's on that note.
I totally agree with that. That is, you need to adopt this technology in a responsible manner. Otherwise, it will create a lot of problems. It is actually not avoiding the presence of a journalist or presence of a teacher or presence of a doctor, anything. It is not replacing thing, actually. So somebody should be there. A human presence is necessary to guard it. Otherwise, it can be biased. It can be unethical, because it's just technology. Based on the data used to train that model, it can be biased or unethical. So completely avoiding humans is not possible, where you need to guard it yourself, especially in teaching itself. The teacher is essential part of the teaching process. But you can use the technology to, enhance the teacher's capability to meet every child's need. That's the only thing we can do.
Yeah, I agree with that as well. Like, just a little point to add on. Like, as you said, right, like the over specialization part, I feel like we still do need people because of the exact same reason, right? Like, the internet allows us to access whatever information we want from whatever era that is documented, but we still like listening to historians, we still like listening to these people, and I would argue that we get way more information from them, we learn way more from these people than like me sitting on Wikipedia the whole night. And it's because they essentially are storytellers. It's essentially the way that they convey this information. And I would like to bring that all down to the creativity of it, is that even though information is available, even though the AI might put it in like a most beautiful way, I think we still need humans to kind of pick out nuances from it, kind of make these connections that make it interesting for other people that exist in the same culture as we do, like making analogies that make sense to us more than, you know, the broader sense of like way. So yeah, I feel like just kind of concluding it as well, which is why humans and creativity is important no matter where tech and AI goes.
Thank you very much. Now to honor our two guests with memento from Mathrubhumi International Festival of Letters, I would like to call upon Mr. Sajid Hussain, the General Manager of Quest Global Trivandrum, onto the stage. First, let's honor Mr. Unni Sankar.
Purpose.
Thank you,
A simple statement
Mr.
that
Unni.
inspires everything
Up
we do.
next, to Sunil Prabhakar.
Purpose is not
Thank you very much. We were
It's in
really
our
fortunate
DNA,
to listen to some
in
of the
our
digital
culture,
stalwarts
in
of India. Thank you very much.
our